Hi guys, so it's finally here, the long-awaited video that I've been promising for a while. So through this video, disclaimer, I'm gonna go through the basic battle mechanics for Evony. What I mean by that is the basic um equations, let's say, that the game engine uses to calculate battle reports and the outcome of battles. For lack of better words. um, so through this video, I'm basically gonna go through the troop types, and I'm gonna show you how they each act in battle. And I'm also gonna try to demonstrate to you how that might look like in a way that you can visualize it. So to start with, um, I guess I have to mention that Evony is a turn-based game, which means that the battle goes in phases. You'd have to imagine a real battle, and the battle goes in phases and turns, and there are movements, and this is what the next part leads to. So, for example, if we take the T14 archers, you'll notice that they have 11,000 attack, 31,000 defense, 57,000 HP. Speed is 350 and range is 50. That's for ground troops. Alright, now you notice if we go to, let's see, let's do the T10. Foot Knights. Attack 4,000, defense 13,000, HP 25,000. Speed is still 350 and range is still 50. What that means is that the speed is the number of units, let's call it, that this troop type moves at per turn, and the range is the range of the attack. So if anything is within 50 of its current position, it will engage it. Alrighty, as we move on, this will make more sense. Archers, 13,000 attack, 9,000 defense, 22,000 HP. Actually, if you notice off the bat, before I get into the speed and range for archers, ground troops have nearly the same attack, and they actually have almost triple the defense and almost triple the HP. So in short, ground troops should be much stronger than archers. But here's why archers are the best troops, quote unquote, or the strongest troops, quote unquote. The speed is 100, which means they move 100 units per turn. This is actually slower than ground, which means archers lag behind in a battlefield. Their range, however, is 500, which is 10 times the range of ground troops, which means they can shoot so much further than their current position, and they can reach the battle, or their hits would reach the battle while them still being behind the front lines. Let's move on to cavalry. Cavalry, 23,000 attack, 15,000 defense, 40,000 HP. Speed is 600. That makes them the fastest unit in the game. Range is 50, which is melee range. It's the same as ground troop, 50-50. Alright. But their speed is their, let's say it's their downfall, but it's also their unique, let's just call it their unique specialty, is that it comes in handy in certain situations that I'll explain later. But yeah, they are the fastest units, and yeah. Next up is siege. Not very impressive attack, not impressive HP. Attack is almost the same as the other two. Defense is very low, HP is very low, but if you think about it, it's a almost stationary machine. Speed is 75, which is the lowest. Um, Slightly lower than archers, which are 100. Range, however, 2,178, which means they can shoot really, really far. They can start shooting at archers. If there were only archers in Siege, 1,000 versus 1,000, they would start shooting at archers 4 turns before the archers. Actually, no. That would make it almost 3 turns before they get in range with the archers. Because you would have to calculate the, okay, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. Oh, actually, it's closer to 5 turns, yeah. You'd have to calculate the speed and the range. So, yeah, for about 5 turns, Siege will actually hit archers while archers are still approaching. They're both approaching towards each other. But yeah, only then, after the fact, speed and range calculated, only then will attack, defense, and HP take place. So, Siege will be hitting archers for 5 turns. Well, they'll be hitting them with 10,000 attack at a time. Then, what gets calculated is archer HP and defense, how much they can hold off and how much they can survive. So hypothetically, if you actually pin archers against Siege, the archers will win, because the Siege will be destroyed immediately almost. Their defense is low, their HP is low. Yeah, the attack is close, but archers have better defense and HP, so you can immediately determine that the archers will win that battle. And this is where defense, HP, and attack come in play. It's not the only element in the game, it's an important one, but the basics come in first. And the thing about range is, we said speed and range are fixed for all units except for range. For Siege, their range is actually variable. If we go back to T11, Siege, their range is 1,867. If we go back all the way to T1, their range is 1,400, which is still the highest range in the game, even for a T1. This is where Siege becomes very essential as a layer in your battle and for defense, because they can engage the enemy way before the enemy gets there. They might not kill every unit unless you have high numbers of Siege, but they will soften them up. They will take down some of their HP and everything for your main troops to come in and clear them out. Now, just to demonstrate to you further, I'm gonna use a sketchpad. I'm gonna try to draw out a battlefield. So let's say we are here. This is we or us. Okay, and this is the enemy, E. All right, this will be 0. This is the battlefield, 0. This is where the engagement happens, let's call it. So if you send in one of those T14 Sieges, the range will begin at the highest range unit you have. So the range of this battlefield will be 2,100 and, oh, that's terrible. Okay, let me try that one more time. 2,100. Okay, and down here, let's say you used T11 Siege, 1,870. So this is the distance that the army will cross. Everything will start here at that range, and then they will have to move down further using their speed unit points. So the siege will move at 75 points per turn. Archers will move at 100. Ground will move at 350, and what's left? Cavalry 600. The lines are too long, but just to signify the difference. That's how the battle actually works. And with each turn, they will move, they will be shooting, and they will be using their range to attack. Alright? For cavalry, of course, it's going to be a really, really tiny arc because they have very, very low range. Ground, same thing. Archers will be shooting way too far. They have 500 range. Alright? And that's where archers are an advantage. Siege will also shooting like way, way too far. So this is basically why layers are often used. The other reason is the game mechanic goes where troops start killing lower troops and then climb upwards in tiers. So that means if you send T1 to T10 against T10, the T10 will be attacking T1 and then going all the way up to T10. That's basically how it works. Or attack them all at once. It depends on situations. However, T12, you hear everybody talking about T12 and how almighty they are. T12 attacks the highest and then goes down to the lowest. That's what they do. Some say it's that because, or it's set up that way because of the programming for the City of Thrones, because the City of Thrones has T12s, and to make it stronger, T12s will have to attack the highest tier troops, which is T12 or T11. But yes, it might be a rumor, and it is kind of a rumor. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but through practice, it has been confirmed that T12 actually does well against troop types that are higher. For example, T13 does not apply. That rule does not apply to T13. T13 does the same thing. They goes for lower than for higher. But T14 seems to engage with the highest or just with everything. If you send 500,000 T14 calves, 500,000 T13 calves, and 500,000 T12 calves against, say, even if it's all archers, ground, or like you're sending, so we have 1.5 million, okay, T14, T13, and T12, and we're sending it against 900,000 ground. Okay, let's put just G, that might be better. Okay, 900,000 ground, and say 400,000 calves. T12, all T12. What you're gonna see is, although you send 14, 13, and 12, 12 should go and die, right? No, you're gonna see that all the wounded are gonna be T14, and that's why I hate T14s. T14s manage to kill themselves in every battle you put them into. You're gonna get wounded. If you use T12, you might actually get the minimum amount of wounded for some reason. I still haven't figured it out. It always changes, of course. T12 doesn't change that much though. The game mechanics always get updated, and now with the K40 and the T15, a lot of the game mechanics actually changed. And since there's like only probably 2 people until now that have T15s, we don't really know how they act in battle, what places they take, or how they're programmed to work. But we will see that very soon. However, this is not about T15 or anything. This is basically to explain how the game runs those reports in the background. Like, you can imagine the battle taking 10, 15, 30 turns, maybe more, because it's not just about engagement. The troops can start attacking each other. But then hit points, defense, attack will take place. Buffs, this is where they come in play. Okay, now you're in range and you started hitting. Who hit who first? But who's gonna withstand what? That is gonna be the next stage in the calculation. But it's always important to understand the basic concepts. Like for example, calves kill grounds. Always win against grounds. If it's you have mainly calves and ground, even with layers, the calves will always win against ground because ground moves slower than calves. They both fight at melee range, which is 50, but calves have higher attack. And although ground has high HP, calves will get to them because they have almost double the attack of ground troops. And things like that still come into play with buffs, like I mentioned. But as we're going further in the game and the buffs are going insane, 1600, 1800%, we're noticing that there's a reversal in that trend where you can kill archers with calves, or you can kill ground with archers, which you couldn't think that's possible, but yeah, it is possible. Apparently, it is nowadays. You will get some wounded, but yes, it is possible. And if you go here for reference, you will see that it says your barracks allow you to train ground troops, upgrade your barracks, unlock types. Troops, ground troops possess battle advantage over range troops. So it is mentioned in words, but it is not explained. And this is what it is. Although they are very political and they're saying possess battle advantage, doesn't say necessarily you will win, and it doesn't say buffs are calculated or anything like that. But yeah, I guess that's all I have to share for today. Um, please tell me if I missed anything. I can always make a follow-up video and explain further. I actually wanted to make this more of a visual experience so you can imagine it, because most of the time you would have to visualize this on your head. Sorry, in your head, not on your head. You'd have to visualize how all of this works. Um, but yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.